Maybe the difference between me and the other candidates is that they are in the air. Other people were hearing their voices while we are on the ground. So thank you very much, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me once again thank everybody here for coming. And let me begin by thanking the Royal Institute for organizing this event and for inviting me to interact with this global audience. Let me also thank the audience, both the Institute and the virtual ones, for your interest in the peace, unity, and prosperity of our country. Our country today is facing numerous challenges: insecurity, growing poverty, growing and uncontrolled inflation, growing unemployment and despondency, decaying infrastructure, high rate of maternal and neonatal death, collapsing education system, crisis in the healthcare services, very weak institutions, growing corruption and graft, unbelievable theft of crude oil and other mineral resources, and growing mistrust among the constituent communities of our country, etc., etc. We can point fingers at all sorts of factors allegedly responsible for our situation, from coronavirus to global economic recession, from Western powers to international capital, etc. But for me, we are where we are because of the mistakes and the wrong choices made by the very people entrusted with the business of governing Nigeria in the last 24 years. I am aspiring to become the next president of Nigeria because I understand the issues involved, the mistakes that were made, the wrong priorities that were set, and together with our team, we are better connected with the hopes and aspirations of the Nigerian citizens. We understand, agree with, and share grievances. And we have a plan, a practical plan to address each and every challenge bedeviling our country. My pledge to you, the RMK 2023 blueprint will soon be circulated, is a synopsis of my plans for our country when elected. And I implore you to pursue through the document, which for us serves as a social contract between me and Nigerian citizens. For today's discussion, I intend to provide policy alternatives and how we intend to improve services delivery in 4 core areas: the economy, human security, social issues, and deepening democracy. Although I will be open for engagement in other areas related to the Nigerian state, due to time limitation, I shall focus on these 4 areas. In designing all our policies and plans, we are guided, among numerous other things, by one important consideration: the future. Not only next 4 or 8 years, and not only next 1 or 2 decades. We look further, we think deeper. Remember, in less than 30 years to come, our country will be the 3rd most populous country in the world, with a population in excess of 400 million people in 2050. We'll overtake Pakistan, Brazil, Indonesia, and the USA. While we plan for today and tomorrow, we also have to think far ahead and start providing answers to some of these questions. How do we feed more than 400 million students? How do we educate them and make them productive for the global market? How do you provide housing and transportation infrastructure for them? How do you provide effective healthcare services to them? How do you provide employment for them? How do you provide uninterrupted power? How do you secure the country internally and externally? How do you maintain our mega cities, etc., etc.? The leaders that our country needs are not those that will come and do business as usual. We certainly do not need perfunctory leaders anymore. We need thoughtful leaders, selfless, competent, credible, objective, transparent, visionary, empathetic, and accountable. Our economic plan. The main goals of our economic policy are macroeconomic stability, that is keeping inflation and economic output close to potential, low unemployment, robust economic growth, sound fiscal balance, sound balance of payments position, that's external position, and sound financial institutions. These will lead to higher incomes and better quality of life for the citizens. To achieve these goals, we have 7 policy agenda. 1, restoring fiscal discipline. 2, improving non-oil revenue through reforms in company income tax, value-added tax, as well as reforms in key revenue-generating agencies. 3, improving crude oil and gas production to OPEC target. 4, ensuring disciplined management float foreign exchange policy. 5, targeting inflation. 6, improving the climate for trade, investment, and business. 7, preventing corruption, wastages, and theft and other of oil and other mineral resources. Fighting poverty and ensuring prosperity. Over 133 million Nigerians, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, are living in abject poverty. For a country generously endowed with human and material resources like Nigeria, this is totally unacceptable. We have a practical plan to confront and defeat poverty in Nigeria. A, we shall lift Nigerians from the poverty ditch through targeted poverty alleviation and poverty elimination strategies that ensure families at the bottom of the social ladder have access to food, clothing, quality education, basic health care, and basic housing needs. B, to ensure that those lifted out of the poverty do not return into the poverty bracket, we shall ensure that beneficiaries of our poverty elimination programs maintain good paying vocation, high yielding investment, as well as strategic savings to ensure individual, family, and community prosperity. C, deliberate steps will be taken from our first day in office to end youth unemployment in our country. In specific terms, 1, over 2 million job opportunities will be created in the armed forces, police, and other security agencies. 2, our mass housing plan will provide opportunities to more than 1 million Nigerian youths annually. 3, our agricultural mechanization agenda will create over 2 million opportunities annually to place our youth in gainful and productive engagement across the agricultural value chain. 4, our proposed revolution in critical infrastructure will provide over 3 million regular opportunities in the transportation sector and the power sector. 5, our education reforms, especially expanding access and the mopping up of over 20 million out-of-school children, will entail the recruitment of hundreds of thousands of teachers and other associated staff in our education system annually. 6, our plan to modernize healthcare services will not only entail infrastructural and high-tech medical equipment upgrade, but also the recruitment of hundreds of thousands of medical personnel across the 3 levels of care to cater for the ballooning size of Nigeria's population. 7, private sector will be strong enough to generate even more job opportunities as a result of conducive climate and deliberate government policies in oil and gas, power and energy, solid minerals, telecommunications, sports and tourism, entertainment industry, especially films and music, etc., etc. Tackling Nigeria's security challenges. The main targets of our security strategy is to secure or to ensure that all Nigerians enjoy the freedom to live in dignity, freedom from fear, and freedom from want, and to create a conducive climate for investment and collective prosperity. 4 key policy issues are involved: the size and the capacity of the security institutions, enlistment of security personnel, the nexus between security and socio-economic well-being of the citizens, and sustainability issues. Specifically, A, we will ensure justice and fairness to all and the respect of the rule of law by all, irrespective of tribe, religion, region, or social status. This is the foundation upon which peaceful, secured, and prosperous societies are built. B, we will engage and dialogue with all aggrieved groups with a view to addressing every real and perceived grievances. C, we will deploy personnel and set up our technology optimally to ensure that every square meter of Nigeria's territory is secured and protected. D, we will increase the size of Nigerian military from 223,000 active personnel to 1 million. We will increase the size of Nigeria's police from 371,000 active personnel to about 1 million. We will upgrade and modernize the training of all security and law enforcement personnel. G, we will engage the support and cooperation of community leaders and other stakeholders through the instrument of the Community Participation and Reorientation Committees, CPRC, to ensure peace and security in every community in Nigeria. H, we will continue to work with the international community and all friends of Nigeria in the fight against terrorism, banditry, and violent extremism. J, we will engage with and support all our neighboring countries with a view to fighting cross-border crimes and ensuring regional peace and stability. K, our policy proposals in all subsectors, economy, energy and power, education, health, agriculture, strategic infrastructure, trade and industry, women and children, housing, etc., share the all-important goal of ensuring peace, unity, and security in our country. Social issues. Our education revolution. Our revolution in the education sector will be guided by our philosophy of education as public good. We shall ensure through the correct reforms and investment that all our schools provide the best quality education to our students. We have 5 major areas that our revolution will address: out of school and girl child education, national literacy campaign, higher education reform, examination bodies, and scholarships. Some of the immediate actions we intend to take include: A, we shall reform the education sector in its entirety to ensure accountability, expansion of access, and improvement of quality. Every Nigerian must have access to good quality education, not minding their social status. B, we shall incentivize enrollment of the girl child and all the children from poorly served communities. C, we will eradicate illiteracy in Nigeria. Every adult shall have the opportunity to acquire literacy and engage in lifelong learning. D, we will mop up the 20 million out-of-school children in Nigeria and get them enrolled in schools in the next 4 years. E, specifically, we will provide 500,000 classrooms across the states of the Federation to accommodate the over 20 million out-of-school children that we planned to mop up from the streets of Nigeria. We will provide 1 meal per day per child in all basic schools through the innovative involvement of community participation and orientation committees, CPRC, as well as state and local governments across the country. G, following our successful experimentation in Kano State, we will make all application forms for admission into tertiary education institutions and application forms for employment free. H, we will also make all examinations such as WAEC, NECO, NAPTEB, MBAS, JAM, etc. free. These were successfully implemented for 8 years in Kano State when I was the state governor. I, we will introduce a 4-year validity period for JAM examination results so that our children can use the same JAM results again to gain admission into our tertiary education institutions. J, we will upgrade and expand all our universities, polytechnics, and the colleges of education and raise their standard to global competitiveness. K, we will work with all stakeholders to arrest the rot and the decay in our tertiary education institutions and ensure that the perennial industrial action by staff unions is brought to a permanent stop. We will improve funding for research and innovation. M, we will cause the amendment of all acts and laws that impede in provision of quality education across all levels. N, we will introduce competitive foreign scholarships to give bright Nigerian youth the opportunity to study for higher degrees in the best universities around the world. We will significantly improve the funding and support to education at all levels. And P, We will support teachers and other stakeholders to play their roles in making Nigeria attain greatness through education. Social issues, our healthcare reform. Nigeria, like other developing countries, has its share of health problems. Communicable and infectious diseases remain the major health problem in the country, while contemporary demographic transition ushers in a range of non-communicable diseases too. These diseases lead to devastating morbidities and mortalities and have significant socio-economic impact on the country. The top among the diseases are malaria, lower respiratory infections, HIV/AIDS, diarrheal diseases, road injuries, protein energy, malnutrition, cancer, meningitis, stroke, hypertension, obesity, sickle cell diseases, and tuberculosis. Notably, malaria remains the foremost killer disease in Nigeria, accounting for over 25% of under 5 mortality, 30% childhood mortality, and 11% maternal mortality. With about 3.4 million Nigerians living with HIV, the country also has the second highest HIV burden in the world, accounting to more than 9% of the global burden. The morbidity and mortality coming from these preventable conditions take their roots in inadequacy, inaccessibility of quality health care, poor sanitation and hygiene, poor vector control, poor maternal, neonatal, infant, child, adolescent, and elderly care system. Other causes include corruption, drug and substance abuse, alcohol abuse, malnutrition, lack of access to safe drinking water, environmental pollution, poor road maintenance, poor healthcare facilities, and poor healthcare worker remuneration and training, among others. Our actions and programs in the health sector will be guided by our philosophy of health is wealth. We shall reform the health sector in its entirety to ensure professional accountability, quality of service, and professionalism. We will improve sanitation and hygiene in public places, provide the general framework for states and local government councils to develop the guidelines for sanitation inspectors. We will provide, in conjunction with states and local government councils, together with CPRC, free natal and maternal health care services for families. In conjunction with other levels of care provisioning, our administration shall coordinate the provision of mobile clinics to access underserved communities across the country. We will upgrade and modernize all tertiary level hospitals in all states of the Federation with a view to expanding access and improving quality of healthcare services. Upgrade and equip all specialty hospitals to tackle the diseases that cause most deaths and disability in Nigeria. For example, malaria, cancer, diabetes, renal diseases, tuberculosis, etc. Undertake comprehensive reform of medical and health education to create more opportunities and meet the manpower needs of the sector. Review the accident emergency protocols in all hospitals to ensure that all health emergency cases are attended to promptly. Promote exercise and sports through programs and intervention support using specialized institutions. Redirect health workers' energy away from trade disputes to professional development and lifelong learning and improvement of skills. Review the laws of all agencies, councils, and such other bodies in the health sector to remove every impediment hampering the effective and efficient delivery of healthcare services, including healthcare education. Minimize health tourism through facility upgrades, services improvement, health workers training and technology transfer and acquisition. Training of specialized health care professionals for local and international markets, example nurses, midwives, etc. Strengthen the National Center for Disease Control, NCDC, with view to empowering it to identify and eliminate the spread of infectious and contagious diseases in the country through research and innovation. Social issues, women and children. 53.3% of Nigeria's population is currently under the age of 15, and the current total number of children under the age of 5 stands at nearly 36 million, and each year more than 7 million babies are born. Nigeria's women of childbearing age 15 to 49 years of age suffer disproportionately high level of health issues surrounding birth, and there are over 40 million women of childbearing age in our country. While the country represents about 2.8% of the world's population, it currently contributes more than 10% of global deaths for pregnant mothers. Each year, approximately 262,000 babies die at birth, the world's second highest national total. Infant mortality currently stands at 74 per 1,000 live births, while for under 5s, it rises to 117 per 100 live births. More than half of our under 5 deaths, which is 64%, result from malaria, pneumonia, and diarrhea. Poor access to water, sanitation, and hygiene remains a major cause of diarrhea-related deaths. As of 2015, 57 million Nigerians were without access to improved water sources.
So 5 more minutes. We have lots of questions coming in. I don't want the audience to
not
have their opportunity.
Yes, okay. Let me conclude quickly. In conclusion, my dear compatriots in the diaspora, we are indeed very proud of your achievements as global citizens. We are even more proud that you are playing your role in creating a better world and also serving as good ambassadors of our country. Let me assure you that when eventually the NPP is voted into power and I become president of Nigeria, we shall create an irresistible condition and make our country so attractive as a destination for businesses and career aspiration that majority of you will be attracted to better opportunities at home. Given your wealth of experience, good education, and achievements, we believe you will have better and more important roles to play at home under our administration. And for those that have made the host countries their home, We pledge to you today that our administration will work towards ensuring that Nigerians in diaspora are given the opportunity to exercise their civic responsibility and vote in all general elections. Before I conclude this brief paper, let me say that our incoming NNPP administration will honor all our international obligations related to climate action, trade and investment, fight against terrorism and violent extremism, drug and human trafficking, as well as honor all conventions and agreements that our country is signatory to. While thanking the UK government for the numerous support and assistance being extended to our country, both directly and through a number of development partners, while appreciating the good work that numerous UK businesses in Nigeria are doing to build our economy, our incoming administration will work deliberately to strengthen the Nigeria-UK relations post-Brexit, expand businesses opportunities, and create business climate that will make Nigeria a more attractive destination for investors. Finally, let me say this. Our country is yet at another crossroad. We are facing an election in which, for the first time in 20 years, President Buhari will not be a candidate. We are going into an election at a time when poverty is biting so hard and money-bagged politicians believe that they can take advantage of the very poverty they inflicted on the nation. But unfortunately, we are also going into this election when the election umpire, INEC, has successfully gotten the enactment of some of the far-reaching amendments targeted at improving the conduct of elections and preventing election rigging in Nigeria. My 30 years experience in politics has taught me that free, fair and credible election requires so many inputs, so many commitments. But the commitment of the president in particular and that of the presidency in general is key. If the presidency wants free and fair election, it will happen. Thus, the burden of conducting free and fair elections, much as it depends on the performance of INEC, politicians, security agencies, and other stakeholders, it largely rests on the corridors of the presidency. While thanking the UK, the EU, the US, and other friends of Nigeria for their support in deepening democracy in our country, especially the support they are extending to INEC, I want to appeal to them, to the Nigerian president, to ensure that he leaves a legacy of free, fair, and credible election. Luckily for us, the outgoing president was a serial victim of election rigging and manipulation, and also the first beneficiary of free, fair, and credible election in 2015. We are also aware that some anti-democratic forces are scheming to hide behind the possibility of a second ballot in the presidential election as speculated by INEC to derail our democracy. Let it be known that no contraption in whatever guise other than an elected government will be acceptable to Nigerians in 2023. We in the NNPP believe that we will win the election fair and square at the first ballot. We appeal to the President not to listen to any proposal that seeks to undermine the 2023 general elections. We also call on all well-meaning Nigerians, as well as international community, to be vigilant. I'm also calling on all Nigerians in diaspora to continue to appeal to the governments of their host countries to continue to support our country and ensure that credible elections are conducted. On this note, I will stop here and listen to your comments and questions. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you. Thank you.
Senator, take a seat for a moment and we'll get some questions, and then you may want to go up to the podium again, because with the live stream, it's certainly a lot more effective if you respond to questions standing up. So, who wants to ask a question? The lady there, first of all. I'm coming this way. Madam, there's a microphone just there for you. Do tell us who you are. Keep your question short.
Okay. My name is Mariam Garba. I'm coming from Newcastle. Originally from Kano State. I have two questions. Perhaps go for one first. It's on education. So when it comes to education, Honorable Senator, you've mentioned the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria is quite high, going up to 20 million. On another perspective, the yearly affair for the ASU strike in Nigeria is also a concern. So how will the states and the federal government, if you are elected, get children back to school? And what is the proposal for the lasting solution to the ASU crisis?
Okay, thank you very much. If we have time, we come back for a second question. The gentleman there with the cap on, I think I know who you support.
Okay, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. My name is Umar Shehu Umar from University of Brilliance. I would ask a question about patriotism, because patriotism is a key requirement for nation building. And arguably, most Nigerians at home or diaspora hardly say good things about Nigeria. This established a crack that the Western world used to say every shitty things about our country. In other words, Nigerians live in the country they don't believe in. Considering this sad reality, sir, how realizable is a new Nigeria?
Thank you very much. I'm going each row at the moment. So the lady there. Your microphone. Don't worry, we've got time to come here. The front row is not going to be discriminated against neither. Please go ahead, madam.
My name is Hadiza Humba, and I live in Northampton. Your Excellency, sir, the incumbent president of Nigeria had the best chance and probably some of the best policies to break a record by turning Nigeria around. But there were hindrances and hidden forces, which is not an excuse. How do you intend to deal with these hidden forces? Also, the orientation, Nigerians are heartbroken. How do you intend to make them believe in the system? And again, the day you become the president of Nigeria, hopefully, will be the beginning of the end. What will be the legacy you want to leave? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'll take one final question. The gentleman in the corner there. Yeah, you, sir, with the green jumper. Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Duke Uputa. I am an independent political analyst and also a Chatham House member. Senator, given that your campaign strategy and promises are very similar to that of Labour Party in many ways. And your main objective is to stop the extraction by the two major establishment parties. Is there any circumstances in which you will step aside and cooperate with Labour in order to remove the current extraction in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. Senator, you may want to go to the podium and stand up and respond to those questions.
Thank you.
The final question you received, we did get several of those virtually also, so just a number of people are thinking same thing.
Thank you very much. Let me start with the first question from Mariam Garba from Newcastle. You see, for those who are familiar with our antecedents, definitely will have no option other than to believe that we took education very seriously when we had an opportunity. And I want to tell you that in 4 years in Kano, we took over 3,000 young men and women to 14 countries across the world. In fact, when I came here, I met some marine engineers who I think are here with us. So, is there anybody? Yeah, they are here. They are part of over 3,000 that we sent out of the country to 14 countries in 4 years. And that's in addition to the universities that we established, 2 universities in Kano. And I am happy to say that in our country, we have a lot of resources, a lot of money. Anybody who says all these things we are saying are not possible, maybe he is part of the scam or he doesn't understand. We have enough resources, we have enough manpower, we have everything that we require to ensure that each child in Nigeria goes to school. And we have done it when I had an opportunity to go to be the governor of Kano State. Now the 20 million are there. That's why we intend to do 500,000 classrooms in 4 years. We will mop up all the resources that are necessary for doing that. And so that at the end of the day, by the grace of God, our children will go back to school. We have done it in Kano. All our children were given opportunity by building thousands of classrooms in primary schools, hundreds of secondary schools, 2 universities, 26 other institutes in just 4 years. And we believe it's possible. And that's our pledge to our countrymen and women. So the other question on patriotism. You see, some of the issues that we have is that, unfortunately, our leaders were not able to bring everybody on board. We are not able really to convince people that there is good leadership and people are benefiting. Now, one small example I want to make is, contrary to the issue of patriotism as far as the country is concerned, I can assure you the young men and women who benefited in Kano for the 4 years or 8 years I was governor are very patriotic to the state, to the country, and even to our movement, very much committed to that. So that means if we have good leadership, that can bring everybody together. I have no doubt in my mind that Nigerians will be patriotic, and in fact more patriotic than many countries that we see today and think they are patriotic. So we will provide the leadership necessary for everybody to be carried along and ensure that everybody is committed to the project and Nigeria. I think the issue of hindrances of our sitting president, yes, I believe there are so many hindrances and they are not different from other expectations or our expectations really. But I want to say that leadership requires a lot of capacity, it requires a lot of experience, people with a lot of education if you like, and all what it takes really to be the president of the country. So I believe that with our party in power, going by our antecedents, going by my personal experiences, I have been in this game for 30 years now, and I have been in this country for about 10 years. I visited so many other countries as Minister of Defense, as House of Reps, Deputy Speaker, a Constitutional Conference member, and a Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and member of the NDDC representing Northwest, and of course, advisor to President on Darfur and Somalia during those crises. So we know that there will always be challenge to presidents and even to a councillor. And how you handle it determines the type of person you are. We believe that we are going to do the right thing and the support of Nigerians. I have no doubt in my mind that all those issues that are enumerated and many more that were not being mentioned would be resolved so that we can have a very new Nigeria for all of us. My legacy, one, we want to unite the country. We want to have one solid country that everybody is given the opportunity, not based on his religion or his ethnicity, but based on the content of his character. And that's what we have done in Kano. That's why everybody, even the biggest enemy, believes that we are very strong in Kano, we are very strong in northern Nigeria today in terms of support, because these are the people who actually know us, know what we stand for, know our capacity, and that's why we are so happy today that what we have sown over the years, I mean, this is the time to repeat. So the issue of legacy, we want to have a united Nigeria, a Nigeria that will not go through all this issue of insecurity, the issue of economy, the issue of education, and so on and so forth, especially the issue of ASU that was being mentioned now. ASU and NNPP, we are on the same page. We are working in direction. In fact, I'm happy to say that when I was governor in Kano, there was a time ASU was going on strike, but Kano branch had to take permission not to join them because they believe that we are doing the right thing. And that right thing will continue when we have the opportunity to bring everybody on board so that, as I mentioned in my speech, we don't have to have or witness ASU or other unions going on unnecessary strike. The issue of labor, you see, that's the problem we have. The gentleman who stood up there, I'm sure he comes from a particular group or a region without even asking him, just because, if you have a party which is based on ethnicity and religion, that's the difference between Labour Party and, of course, our party, which is a national party, New Nigeria People's Party. Now, we want, please, you see, while we are accusing leaders of being one thing or the other negative, I think the followers also must learn how to be Nigerians, not coming from one part of the country. Let me say that I was one of those initially wanting to work together with Labour Party. But unfortunately, at that time, Labour Party was under very serious media hype, and therefore they could not see reason. And you still not see reason that I will withdraw. I wish you didn't go to that extent. You would have said that to work with Labour or to work with APC or PDP. That would have been more responsible. But you cannot come to London. Maybe people who are here don't even know what is happening. And I want to say that our party, NNPP, is the only growing party in Nigeria today. We have seen the maximum any party, especially the party you mentioned, Labour, to us is like Andrew's labor salt. Just came, prrr, now it's coming down. That's the reality. Just take note of it. And of course, NNPP, our party, is the only party that is now getting support. Forget about big people who are the actual problem of our country. But supporters at grassroots level, we are the only party today. And mark you, we have succeeded in locking northern Nigeria today in terms of votes, in terms of support. Now we are working in the southern part of the country. And for us, the difference between north and south is that north know us more than southern part of the country. If you are from the north, I'm sure you wouldn't have made that statement for Kwakwaso to withdraw for Labour Party. You should go and look at my credentials, my brother. I am a PhD holder in civil engineering. And check your candidate, what he has. I have been in the system for over 30 years now. I have been a civil servant for 17 years. I wasn't a trader, civil servant for 17 years. I was Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps in 1992. I was in the Constitutional Conference elected delegate. I was Governor of Kano State for 8 years. And so on and so I was in the Senate, and so on and so forth. So when we sat down, what I told them is what I will tell you.
Okay.
If anybody wants to Kwakwaso to withdraw, let's bring criteria and select the best. Anytime I have any better candidate, I'm ready to talk to him. Thank you very much.
Let's take another round of questions. We've still got about 20 minutes. So, okay, all right. Right at the front row, you go. There you go.
Good afternoon.
Do tell us who you are. Short question, please.
Mike Abiola is my name, publisher, editor-in-chief, African Voice Newspapers, UK. Senator Kwakwaso, thank you for a very detailed presentation. Let me start by saying your other leading candidates also have brilliant ideas in their manifesto. And we do know that politicians have weaponized poverty in our country. And the prediction is that those with the deepest pockets will win the election. Having said that, I recognize the fact that your party is hoping to build a new Nigeria. And the question to ask of the four leading candidates, the issue here is trust. The issue is character. You must have had issues like people mopping up PVCs in opposition's stronghold. You would have also been aware of videos circulating on the internet. We have the Atiku Gate, we have allegation of some others into narcotics and all that. So the issue is character. If you are at the receiving end of these allegations, or well, to be seen to be one of those who are peddling and also involved in what it's now known as Atiku Gate, what would you do? And what would be your advice to your competitors who are involved?
Thank you very much. I'm going to we have quite a few questions coming in through the live stream, through Zoom. One of them is from Chidi Nwoonu, who is saying, as a former Minister of Defence, can you expand on the current problems in the military as you see it and your plans to recruit, train, equip and sustain new army voices? The question on the armed forces of Nigeria. That's a question.
What's the question?
The question is, can you expand on how are you going to reform the military, given your experience formerly as Minister of Defence? And we've been in this row, so this row, and then so the gentleman there, yes, you sir, yeah, with the green scarf, microphone coming.
Thank you. Your Excellency, my name is Dr. Muhammad, and I enjoy your detailed explanation But sir, like most of the other candidates, you have had opportunity. And I as well like your blueprint and theirs, because I have listened to most of them here. I'm a member of Chatham House. I would like to go by your track record, and not only you, as well them, and as well advising them and their supporters. Let's be looking at your previous record and legacy, because it's there in public. Like yourself, you have been governor for 8 years. My question here is, as a young person, sir, can you elaborate, based on legacy, what you did to young people and what you intend to do? I want you to link it with your legacy, because we need to know what you did so that we may have more confidence on you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And, okay, the lady right at the back there, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Priscilla Winkbo, independent broadcaster. So I haven't listened to you. You made mention of the various things that you intend to do. One of the areas was the economic revamping. And in your manifesto, you speak of that being in 3 parts: the ERP, economic stimulation, and you also speak about job creation and so on. And my question to you is this. Given that Nigerians are renowned for setting up businesses, small business owners, and creating so much within that space, what are your plans to work with the African Free Trade Agreement to be able to expand opportunities for Nigerians, because that's a 1.2 billion market, and Nigerians, as small business owners, could benefit a great deal. We would like to know, sir, what you will do to help them, not only financially, because we know that our financial sector is terrible for business owners. Banks, the loans that are provided are terrible. So please, can you expand on that, what you will do for business owners in Nigeria? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator, there's plenty on your plate there. The way I'm looking at the clock, we'll have probably one more round after this. Okay. Go ahead, please.
Me?
Please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Mike, let me thank you for mentioning this issue of money, deep pockets. I believe that 2023 election is going to be slightly different, in the sense that everybody is suffering. Everybody has seen the consequences of collecting money. That is on one hand. On the other hand, these people with deep pockets have made people so poor, to the extent that even good food, hot meal, is enough to make them crazy. That's the talakawas, the poor people. But I have gone around the country. I have only one state now to visit, in the south. Otherwise, I went there 3, 4, 5 times by road, going towards local governments and so on. So I believe that people, the masses of Nigeria, are very committed. Our fear now is more of INEC and other stakeholders, because we have seen what happened in the past. And most of these issues are centered around the villa and the president, not necessarily this president, the ones before inclusive. And as long as the center, the leadership in Abuja will convince themselves to allow the people to go and vote, I have no doubt in my mind we are going to have free, fair, and credible election. And for me, I have not seen any reason why General Buhari will not allow that to happen, because probably it's one of the only or few legacies that he will leave behind. He has been the biggest beneficiary. When we were promoting him in 2015, we were in opposition. Many things happened, and he became president, despite the fact that he had experience on the other side when he had issues with the stakeholders in conducting election. So we believe that this election is going to be different. And I believe that we'll continue to talk to the people. And the issue of character and trust is very important. And that is our strength. I have been a civil servant for 17 years before joining politics, now 30 years. And I'm happy. I'm still standing here talking to you. And I think that's the best anybody can think of doing. That's the best anywhere, even in this country. To stand in the field for almost how many decades now? If you like 3 or 5 decades. And you are still, your integrity is still solid. And I am not sure if there is anybody who can stand up among the leading candidates or even all the candidates and say the same. If you say you'll fight corruption, or you'll fight drugs, you'll fight this, you'll fight that, you can't give what you don't have. And people can come and say whatever here for either local or international audience. But the fact remains, our records are there. And if you don't know, I don't know whether in politics, but anybody in politics will tell you that if you don't know what your grandmother has done before you are born, join politics. They will tell you what she has done. So we are so happy about that. The wanting, I'm so happy I'm not being found wanting. So far, so good. And we have seen the advantage of that. We can only do better in the future. Even those who found themselves in the trap in terms of corruption, in terms of drugs, in terms of all sorts of things, probably given the chance again, they will do it differently. But I'm so happy that right from those days, we stood on the side of the truth. So I have not been found wanting. This question should go to those who are found wanting to answer. The issue of military, the issue of security, I think that's my biggest strength. I have been the Minister of Defense and advisor to President on Darfur and Somalia for 4 years during Obasanjo regime. And during that time, we are not even talking of Nigeria. We are talking of what was happening in other parts of Africa because we are concerned. And that's why our military were in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, in Darfur. I visited them many times. I had discussions with the leaders in those countries. The confidence that they had in Nigerian military was unbelievable. And so also in Nigeria, these are people who are well committed, professionals, well feared by the opponents or enemies. And these are the military that we are talking of bringing back. Now we don't even know. I don't know. I belong to the expanded family of military. I don't know what is happening in Nigeria now. But all I know is everything will revolve around what we call political will. If there is no political will, nothing will work. And I think that's what is affecting our young men and women in the military today. So as former Minister of Defense, Chief Security Officer in Kano, I was in the NDDC. In fact, I left the NDDC because of corruption. So many things were happening. I told the President at that time he was not happy. Later he realized NDDC was in a mess. And unless something is done, they will continue to do so. And in Nigeria, we have to have the reward system and even punishment system. Now everything goes now. If you take, nobody will call you. In Kano, when I was in government, nobody, I can tell you, will go out there and touch 1 naira. And that's why for 8 years I was governor. I'm so happy that for those 8 years we did not borrow 1 kobo, 1 naira we did not borrow. All what I did in Kano was done with the state resources. And that's why some people wonder here I will do 500,000 classrooms, see where I will get the money. Don't forget, right as we are sitting or standing here, instead of 2.2 million barrels of oil, we are producing just 1 million, 1.2, 1.1. Where are the remaining? Stolen by some people. Where are the people? Who are the people? And that's why we have to stop that. The fighting in south, northwest, even in northeast, is mainly because of mineral resources. People are stealing it. from Nigeria and from outside Nigeria. You will only see helicopters picking gold and other resources. That got to stop. All these assets must be taken over by government and be utilized for all of us. And that is what we stand for in Nigeria. So the young men and women, I can assure you, and I'm sure you know it, the gentleman who asked that question, I'm sure he knows, because our biggest support is from the young men and women. In Kano, we took education seriously. 2 years before I left government, there was nobody in Kano who had university qualification that did not go to university. In fact, our universities, 2 universities, I don't want to use we established. We're not even getting students from Kano. And our agenda, unlike what people were insinuating here, was Kano residents, not Kano indigenous. There are so many people who benefited from southeast, southwest, south-south. When I went southeast now, I brought so many people, Igbo, who don't even speak Hausa, but they are all over the world under our scholarship. Because ours, your home is where you live, is not where you necessarily born. And I am happy to say I started politics from being Deputy Speaker House of Reps in 1992. I was not a local government chairman. I was not a champion. I was a national level. I was not even minority or majority leader. Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps, who was a presiding officer of that house. So that's how I started. And along the line, I had all opportunities to be everywhere in the country. And what is important for everybody to learn, including my colleagues, the candidates, is you should try at any given position to be upright. You shouldn't not be found wanting. And once you are found wanting, in countries where they have shame, you don't even come out. You don't mention. So, and you see, politics is not all about making noise. Yes, you are a governor. You have a governor in the corner of a country. That's fine. We have been in the center for many years. Even if I'm not contesting, we want to know that person and say, yes, this is the person that believes in what we believe. Now there are many question marks on some candidates, whether they believe in the country or they believe in seceding from the country. And these are issues in the debates that must come out, and people must come and assure people that this is where they belong. So finally, the lady asked about the economic revamping, helping businessmen and women. This is very critical. You see, in all the countries, you find government subsidizing and supporting people's businesses and so on and so forth, in terms of education, in terms of training and retraining in their respective areas, and of course in providing capital at a minimum interest, minimum. It's not like where we have in Nigeria 30% to whatever percent. That's not acceptable. So we have to do whatever it takes to support our young men and women. And that's exactly what we did in Kano. We established 26 institutes in just 4 years. And one of them is to train this entrepreneurship, to train them, to give them support. That was why part of the institutes we had was the institute of those who handle those who found themselves in drugs. We take them there after 3 months, we arrange for them